Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. If it is the morning where you are, it's saying we have an excellent connection for once, for a change, so that's good. Let me know if you can hear me and that I'm not just talking to myself, and then we'll get things started. So today's video, just to keep things rolling, is going to just be an update, like a casual channel update, because the channel is about to hit 50k subscribers. So yeah, it's a bit of a deal, and it hasn't actually hit 50k. I just had to schedule this ahead of time, and I thought, look, it's close enough, and maybe it'll even happen during the stream, which would be pretty cool, because we're sitting at 49,000 and something. I can't see it in front of me right now, but here's your chance. If you're not subscribed and you actually do enjoy watching the videos, click that button. You can always unsubscribe later if you hate it. But yeah, I'm gonna give a bit of an update because I haven't done a stream since August, I think, since getting back from New Zealand. And you know, I could sit here and make excuses. It's mostly just complacency on my part. And yeah, it is hard to keep up with doing these things, and if you lose the habit, it drops off. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what I've learned through YouTube, through doing it for 7 years, because the 7th year actually just hit in September, so not long from now. So I thought, how appropriate, you know, 7-year anniversary of starting the channel with my friend Nick, who dropped off way back, but he's still a good friend, still kind of, you know, hoping to get back on for some videos. And 50,000. So that's pretty big. I know like a lot of channels in 7 years would have grown a lot more, but I'm still really proud of where we're at. And I want to just talk through some of this stuff in case anyone watching is interested in YouTube themselves. Cool. We got comments. You can hear me. Great. Thank you, Will. Mr. Chigiva. Hey, man. Thanks for joining. You too, Chris. Good morning. All right. So I wrote a bit of a list of things that I've learned, or just kind of takeaways more so than lessons after doing this for so long. And I guess a lot of it applies to other things as well, even if you're not doing a YouTube channel. So I'll get into that soon. But yeah, how's everyone going? Let me know what you've been up to if you're here live. Anything, any questions you have, any feedback or suggestions, I'm always open to hearing that. And if you get those out in the beginning, something that's been on your mind, or any news or any like new takes you have on something, put that out there so everyone else has something to go off for the rest of the discussion as we go along. But yeah, the channel has, like, it always has its ups and downs in terms of consistency, but lately it's been a little bit slower. Things were getting in the way of putting out as many videos as I'd like, but I'm still really happy with what I am putting out. So the last video was the Nikon ZF video, for example, and frequency's probably dropped off to like every few weeks, but that video I was really happy with. I really put a lot of work into it. I really enjoyed testing that camera, putting my thoughts out there, and that gives me more satisfaction than just churning out something every week that isn't as good as I'd like it, or as authentic as to my own interests. So yeah, I think that's a good launching point into the lessons. Actually, let's get into that. I wrote some little notes here about, yeah, it was like 7 years of doing this. It's about consistency, sure, and that is a big factor. But what I'm realizing is that as important as being consistent is with something like this, or any project or anything that's like a long-term embarking of your own, especially personal projects where you're accountable to yourself, is that it's important to just be persistent as well. So you have consistency, which is, you know, maybe the rate at which you put out work or do work, but also being persistent is important, meaning that if you drop off, or you feel like you don't want to keep going, or it's been too long since your last upload, or whatever it might be, keep coming back, just keep at it. Even if you have things that don't do as well, or you just don't feel like your efforts as rewarded, it's really important to persist for a long time, because after 7 years of doing this and reaching 50,000 subscribers, if you weren't here from the beginning, you will notice that there were times when it was only a video every few months maybe, and it wasn't really that we ever intended to keep doing this long term. It was really just something that started for fun, but we persisted. Even when, you know, I was doing the channel on my own after a certain point, I just persisted and thought, hey, I've still got things I'd like to talk about and share, and let's persist. Even though I really felt a lot more uncomfortable in front of the camera and that people weren't interested in what I had to hear, it is good to persist. And hey, Lucian's on here and he has a nice little quote there, which is persistence beats resistance. Yeah, exactly. You have to fight the resistance. You have to persist through it. Man, this is starting to be a tongue twister. Let's move on to the next one. So the second thing I noted down was, through doing this for so long, I've learned how to produce better videos, obviously. But in saying that, the content is still more important than production value. Okay, so if you want to go back, and if you haven't already seen our first videos on the channel, I've left the very first video, and the very first videos, from that 2016 beginning we had. You'll see the quality was a lot lower, and like some of the audio was terrible. For example, we had videos called, like tips for your first film camera, stuff like that, where communicating the points is really important to the success of that kind of video. But it was subpar. It still did all right, though. It still did all right because it still helped some people, and the content was what was more important. So of course the video production quality has gotten better, but that hasn't really been the most important thing. It does help. It does help people receive the content better, but yeah. We learned on the job. I learned a lot on the job. I learned about videography, how to feel more comfortable talking on camera, how to have better audio, upgrading equipment. Our first videos, we didn't even have a microphone. So yeah, the best videos are still the ones that resonate with viewers for their content, and the production value is like the packaging or the polish. So it's important, but as long as it's decent, you should be good. So that's lesson 2, I guess. All right, number 3, having a platform can be a lot of fun. So I didn't come from I was, not already doing any other YouTube channels. I hadn't had experience. I wasn't very big with social media. It was a really scary thing, especially back then, 2016. It wasn't as common. There weren't any other, Australian film photography YouTube channels. And I'm naturally an introvert. It's not my thing. Nick and I were just friends who used to talk about film photography and thought, hey, let's start a channel. But we didn't actually want to be on camera. We're like, hey, who's going to talk? I don't want to talk on camera. You do it. And then we just kind of just dived in. But it's fun because the content you share is something you're passionate about, that will lead you through it. That will ring true no matter what. And if it's content that you yourself would watch, so you're producing something that you would watch yourself or listen to or whatever it is you're doing, you'll enjoy it, and that passion will resonate with your audience. So in the process of researching and creating videos back then, and this whole time, I've learned a lot. And I've met a lot of people and expanded my network, and that is really enjoyable. So even forgetting everything else, even if this channel was still, let's say no subscribers or very few, and I'd done it for this long, it still would have been really fun. Number 4, and it just happened so that I had 7 points that I came up with. I can still, go beyond that, but it was a nice coincidence, 7 points, 7 years. 4th one was I've learned to become more resilient through doing YouTube, because not everyone will like the same thing. Not everyone will like everything, basically. It should be pretty obvious, but there's always going to be someone who hates your point of view or your production value or whatever it is, or something arbitrary, no matter what. And you need to ideally have some resilience. Yeah. Because some videos will bomb, for example. You might put a lot of effort into something and think it will have a certain reception, and it doesn't. Growth can be really slow. Like if you think about this channel, 50K, 7 years, it's not really the fastest rate of growth. A lot of channels I see that put in the work, they grow to this stage a lot quicker. You might lose motivation as well. You might want to quit after a certain point, think this sucks, I'm not feeling any reward. And again, it goes back to persisting. So if you actually still want to do it and you do enjoy it, persist through that desire to quit, or maybe pivot. If you just really decide, you know what, I don't actually enjoy talking about this particular angle of things, maybe change the angle, change the subject, change the channel name if you have to. I've seen people do that. or anything. If you're working on a project, like let's say it's a photo project, and you think, why am I doing this? Am I just doing it because I've sunk in this much cost into it and I feel like I have to keep going? Consider whether you're still enjoying it or not. Maybe it's just a simple pivot could revive that and help you, stay resilient through that demotivation. And yeah, I've learned that. It's been, you get hateful comments, you get people who misunderstand where you're coming from or criticize or whatever. But for the most part, it's positive stuff. You can't let the little negative things get to you. All right, let's check some chat. Thanks. Thank you for the congratulations. Preach. I'm feeling all these points. Yeah. So when you're actually someone who does create content, I think you'll resonate more with this stuff, but hopefully it might be relevant to even a lot of the guys who don't necessarily do anything like YouTube or podcasting, just doing photography or having some kind of hobby, some creative hobby. I think it applies. All right. The next one I've learned is it's a lot of work. It's more work than it seems like it. And it's really often more than you might think it is to produce a certain kind of video or to edit or whatever it is. And it's often for little return on investment if you're thinking about it in terms of financially or in terms of time. But again, as long as you're looking at it from for the positives and you're enjoying it, it's well worth it. And you need to find or create those returns yourself, even if it isn't immediate in terms of likes or views, because again, that's not the most important thing. And you can't just let those returns come to you. You think, I've just spent a week producing a video, put it out, everyone should be viewing this, or everyone should be appreciating this body of work, whatever it might be. You need to extract those returns sometimes. So for example, if it is something like YouTube, you want to build a YouTube channel as a business, you need to put the effort into monetization strategies. You need to maybe spread it on social media. You could reach out for collaborations. You can use the platform as a springboard for other things. So with YouTube, for some examples of that, it's been a platform for me to springboard into selling my zine, having more people view my photography work because they've discovered me through YouTube, and then cross-promoting that kind of stuff, or collaborating, using the fact that, hey, someone I admire might want to chat to me on the channel, or I could gain more business. I've actually gained clients, photography clients through the channel. For example, I've met people whose weddings I've shot through the channel, and some of it takes a bit of intentional effort. So yeah, it's a lot of work, often more than it seems, but you need to find those returns. You need to make them happen sometimes. Matt, I remember the first negative comment about Nick. Poor dude. I mean, there's just some hateful stuff sometimes, and it's not even really relevant. But yeah, there's always going to be haters out there. Hello, thanks for joining. Joining from Denmark. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, lesson 6. This niche, film photography, and photography in general, because I do talk about just photography as well and even other creative things, it all continues to evolve in a significant way as time goes on, because it is tied into a creative technology, and it's going to keep evolving as time goes on. People's interests change, the demographics of who is into this niche changes with time. The price and accessibility of film has drastically changed since we started doing YouTube in 2016. More discontinuations, what's available out there has changed. So that has a snowball effect on everything else as well. And even your own interests sometimes evolve with time. My own interests kind of sway and come back and forth. I'll always be into photography, but then sometimes you might have a certain focus on one thing or another. And in order to keep that working with YouTube, I think you need to kind of evolve with it to some degree. You can't just keep doing the exact same thing that worked when you might have started a project, especially when you're in something like photography. But yeah, your own interests, I think, are the most important, but yeah, you kind of need to follow a bit of both. And man, has film photography changed, right? How crazy is it? Like the availability of cameras, the prices, so much of it. All right, last one. We're up to 7. The community is what makes it. This is last but not least. I put this last because it actually was the longest note I wrote down. The community is what makes it worthwhile and worth all the previously mentioned things, because a good channel is shaped by the community that watches it, I think. Like, there's a lot of channels that have crap loads of subscribers that people just watch for a resource, but there isn't really any personality in it, and it's fine because they might just be repurposing other stuff, or these days using AI to just put stuff out. But if you want a lot of personal fulfillment out of it, it's about the community, the people that watch it, not just who create the channel or the content. The community informs my decisions. For example, it fuels my motivation, gives me a sense of fulfillment. I learned this lesson early on in the channel because I was already in a field working at a camera store at the imaging counter or service counter, which was a lot of kind of customer service stuff. Doing things like helping people figure out how to shoot film or load their cameras. So I was already kind of doing that. So I learned this lesson early on with YouTube as well, because one of the videos I made early on was beginner tips for loading film in September of 2017, so a year after the channel started roughly. And although that video is up to like 1.3 million views now, which is crazy, it wasn't always that many. It was a few thousand in the first month or so, in the first few months. It was a couple of thousand or something like that. So it had a massive spike at one point. But even back then, I knew from working at that camera store that this was helping people in some small way, because I would actually show people how to load film in person when they would come to the film counter at the camera store. But then after that video, even within that first couple of months, I would have people come in and say, hey, I saw your video. You're the guy who did that thing and helped me. I was like, all right, cool. So now it's already increasing the reward on that investment of like, hey, let's put this out there. More people might be helped by it. And then there you go, like years later, I just kept getting views. Even though, again, production quality wasn't great. And there's other videos out there that were probably better. So that's one of the things. If you focus on community, I think it's an important aspect of YouTube, in my opinion. Not the only thing, but yeah, I think it's really good to keep that at the forefront. So the film community itself is what inspired me and my friend Nick to actually start making those first videos. Because back then we would just watch Matt Day, Ted Forbes, and John Free. And when we'd get together and talk about film cameras and, you know, chat over coffee, that's who we'd be inspired by. And eventually we thought, why don't we do something similar? Because we have some opinions that we'd like to share. We have some ideas. There's nothing like this in Australia at all. Let's do it. Like, you know, why don't we do it? So the community itself is what encouraged us to start the channel. It also resulted in a lot of friendships we made through the channel, and that I've continued to make since then. We've done meetups. You know, you guys who come to the Pushing Film coffees and cameras or whatever meetups, just shooting, chatting, you know, that's really nice to have. I have people send me film to try or cameras to borrow, which is awesome. And none of that would have happened otherwise. So yeah, I think that's a really big lesson to appreciate from doing this for this long. So what have I got written here? I've gotten to meet other creators. I've written that down, but yeah, creators that I've admired, I've gotten to chat to them, you know, like organizing, whether it's like those video chats with photographers I admire from overseas, like whether it's Kyle McDougall or someone like that. I've had a lot of friendships come out of it. And I've met other types of creators, even if they're not other YouTubers. So yeah, I really thank the community and you guys watching right now who actually pop onto these live streams or watch them afterwards for being there, for being that community. So yeah, those are the lessons. Those are the things that I wanted to share. What do we get? 20 minutes almost. All right, I didn't take too long. But yeah, let me know what you've been up to. Anything else you want to chat about? Any other questions you have? Any suggestions for upcoming videos? I'm all ears. Hey, from Perth, did you hear from Nico's latest post about Kodak reducing 120? I did, yeah. I saw his video. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I got the gist of it, and I immediately jumped on like the local sellers to see if it was actually any cheaper. I don't think it's in effect yet because the local sellers here seem to still have the really high price. But yeah, 35% down on Kodak Gold 120. That's awesome. That brings it back to where it really should be, in my opinion. It was meant to be an alternative to Portra that was much more affordable. And it hardly ever felt like that for long. So yeah, I'll definitely be buying some when the price drops, even though it might go back up again. And people are saying this is just a way of them clearing out stock that's going to become short dated. I'm definitely all for that. The X-Pan. Oh yeah, that early the X-Pan what color, what titanium, the Fuji Frankenstein. Hey man, did I make it to 50k yet? No, it does say 49.9. So we're sitting at like 40 or 50 subscribers away from 50k. Again, if you're on here and you're not subscribed, here's your chance. Or if you're watching this afterwards, let's make it happen. It's close enough. All right, you know, I could have waited for it to actually tick over or scheduled this for tomorrow or a couple of days, but it's too hard to kind of schedule for it to exactly happen during a live stream. I thought it could have been cool. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, but that was cool news. The price drop. And also one thing I watched this morning, I was watching a channel called Overexposed. I don't know if any of you guys watch it. He's from the US. And he was sharing something that I wasn't really too aware of to do with Harman, the company that owns Ilford, potentially launching something and potentially could be color film. There's no official news about that yet, but there's been a lot of teasing and leaking, and they've sent a bunch of influencers these little postcards that say coming soon. I've actually seen one of those in Nico's videos. I didn't understand what it was about initially. I didn't look into it, but yeah, I actually was looking at the Harman Photo Instagram, so I've got that here. And they only started an account recently. They've been sharing something here and there, like these Phoenix drawings or whatever you want to call it, graphics. And if you watched Overexposed, go to his channel. It's just called Overexposed on YouTube. He shares all these other little leaks and clues as to why this could be color film. Again, I don't know, but I'm optimistic that it is something like that, something big. So if it's not color film, what else could it be? Like slide film or a camera or something really cool, judging by the teasing they're doing. It could even be, and the whole Phoenix thing, you know, it represents a revival of something from the dead. So what if it is, for example, something that not necessarily Harman or Ilford used to make, but what if they're reviving something that Fuji stopped making, like, I don't know, Superior or whatever, 400 or something like that? Because there is a chance that Harman and Fuji were making stuff for each other. I've actually heard that that does happen. And remember how Acros 2 died off, started being made again in the UK by Harman or Ilford or whatever. So maybe they've invested in the color equipment from Fuji. It's very possible, because in one of the videos that was shared over on Overexposed channel, the representative was saying that they've invested a lot of money, like millions or something. So yeah, what if it's something like that? What if they're taking over some of Fuji's dead stuff? Because I'm thinking, what has died that would be really exciting to come back from the dead? 400H? I don't know, maybe that, but people wouldn't be as excited about that as something massive like, you know, Kodachrome or whatever. Like not actually Kodachrome, but something cool. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. If anyone has any other information, I'm really excited for this because it's a good sign. Next video, your editing process maybe. Yeah, I've done some stuff on editing, but not a general editing video. I've done stuff like how to edit digital photos to look like film or something. Let me know what you mean. So if you just mean how I tweak my film scans or just how I edit digital photos in general, like my workflow, it's nothing too special and it changes depending on the camera, on the photo, on the work, you know? So it's kind of hard to figure out how I would do that. The 120 price drop makes me think 35mm will drop at some point too. Yeah, you'd hope so. And that part of the massive price rise all around was just an overcorrection. Yeah, definitely some element of that, like where things, you know, like a rubber band effect where it has to overcorrect and then regress back to the mean. And with 35mm, I'm not sure, because with Nico's point of view, it had something specific to do with 120 because people are not shooting medium format as much. So I think with Lomography first dropping the price on their 120 film and now Kodak, maybe it represents just an overstock of 120 or them trying to move more 120 for whatever reason. It'd be interesting to see though, because prices got way too high in my opinion. I haven't been buying much film at all. It's just crazy, especially here in Australia. Like the prices are ridiculous. I'm lucky enough to have enough in the fridge to keep me going here and there, but I have had to buy rolls every now and then. Like I had to buy rolls for like a wedding and some other stuff, and it's insane. I used to go buy pro packs of Pro Image 100 for like 20 something or $30, and that's just out of the question now. Will, your ZF review was great. Thanks, man. By far my favorite of all I've watched. Cool. Did I decide to pick one up? No, I was never really going to pick one up at this point because I have enough cameras. I have too many. I have the digital cameras that serve my needs for the work that I do for filming these videos, and I'm already used to them. I already invested in Canon lenses, so it wouldn't really make sense for me to pick up a ZF for my work stuff like weddings and doing YouTube. And I already have enough cameras for street photography and travel, which tend to be my film cameras, and I could already use the R6 for that if I wanted to. So yeah, if I had unlimited money, sure, it would be cool to just buy one, but it'll probably just sit on the shelf for too long. But I do think it's awesome. I would recommend it for sure. Oh, hey man, you're here. Early congrats on the 50K. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, dude, that video really got me excited because I didn't know about all this hype that they're building up. And that's what I like about your channel is it's kind of like a news thing. I remember finding out about your channel a few days ago, watching the one where it was like an iceberg tier of photography or film. I actually had seen one of your videos before about Peter McKinnon, and then that just popped up because I think I was watching a Peter McKinnon video before that. And that's an interesting topic in its own right, actually, because I do agree with a lot of the sentiment in that video, but I also think that him getting into film can be good, can be seen as good as well. As cringy as some people find it, I think overall, like, yeah, this is cool. Like if he gets into film and he's a big name, it's good for the industry. But yeah, we can chat about that. Maybe we can set up a video chat, actually. That'd be cool. Darren, I watched, oh yeah, cool. He was just here. Apparently Fugu. Yeah, see, that's another video I watched on your channel, man, on Overexposed. Yeah, I saw that. That was sad news because I was really excited for Fugu film. I think the whole thing, like, it was going to be hard no matter what. Like, the name, whatever, they could change the name. I don't think it's fair that Fujifilm would have tried to get them to change from Fugu film. I don't think it's close enough because it's a Fugu fish, whatever, and it is film. But I know how these things work. It's annoying. Yeah, with Fuji coming back. Yeah, it could be. It could be because... like, what else would come back from the dead that would be exciting for people? It's mainly Fuji's films that are just getting killed off. You can't get Superior Premium, Superior 400. Yeah, even the Fuji Color 100. I don't know how long that's going to keep being sold in Japan, and the prices are crazy even over there. Yeah. Let's wait and see. Chigav, have I done a state of film in 2023-24 for those looking to get into film? I haven't. I did a video this year called Is It Still Worth Shooting Film in 2023? And I think that is going to be relevant enough until next year. But yeah, I could do something like that next year. But I think there has to be a significant enough change to really give me an idea and collect some thoughts on that. And honestly, yeah, if you watch channels like Overexposed or Nico's Photo News or Eclectochrome or whatever, I think they're a lot better at those kind of point of view videos and news. I'm not saying I don't enjoy doing it too, but I'm glad we have a lot of channels out these days with great points of view that can conglomerate all this news and exciting developments in film. Yeah, thanks for all these comments and feedback, guys. It's been really cool to get back on today because it was like 3 months since the last stream, and even before that, we were in New Zealand, so it had been about a month. But I want to try and get back on a roll again. Every now and then, I know things will dip and I won't do live streams as often, but I like to get on a roll every now and then. I actually have plans to do another one soon, which I did 2 years ago about the Black Friday deals, just to kind of share some good film photography or maybe just general photography. I'll probably focus on film photography related bargains and deals that go on, because I did one in 2021 and people really liked it, and it was a video that I could leave up and people could go on and find deals through. And for example, there were just things like maybe Negative Lab Pro giving 10% off, or a sale at, I don't know, something else, like even if it's some popular camera strap brand or something. I just got like a collection of cool deals and put them up. And then I also want to talk about, eventually, it'll probably be its own video, excuse me, TLRs and medium format. I've been doing a lot of stuff with medium format street photography, for example. I want to do a video on that. I'm borrowing a Rolleiflex 3.5. I already have a Yashica Flex with a 3.5 lens, so I might do some kind of comparison between those two. Is it worth the premium for the Rolleiflex? Yeah, stuff like that coming up. So I've got plans, and some for live streams as well, discussion points that I've been writing down as time goes on. But if anyone has suggestions, even if you're not watching this live, leave it in the comments. I will check it. I'll add it to my list. I do get suggestions all the time. I have a massive list, but I can, usually just work through it and see what works at any given time, and if I can get around to it. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about. And if anyone has anything else, let me know. Otherwise, leave it in the comments if you watch this later. Those were my lessons. Overall, it's been a great experience. I really appreciate everyone who's been here for like whatever amount of time, whether it's been from the beginning or just more recently. Everyone who supports regularly and leaves comments, especially you guys like Darren, who's here, the friends that I've met in person, people who send me film to try or cameras to review. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, and it helps me keep motivation to keep doing this. What else? Yeah, I want to do more interviews soon as well. I've been really getting more into like film as inspiration, as in movies. And I want to maybe even do something on the channel to do with that. It's always been a big interest of mine. So while you guys are here, while you're watching, let me know what you think about that. Is it just me who really takes a lot of inspiration from cinema, from film, from movies, and channels that into photography? Or is it a common thing? Because I've always wanted to talk about that, even from the beginning when Nick and I, used to talk about photography. We talk about photo books too, and movies and stuff that inspire us. So I've yet to do that on the channel, and I really want to get into that. So, and I've had this like idea on my list for a while called like best movie shot on film, or films that inspire me or whatever like that, typical stuff. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. And I think I'll leave it there. Yeah, if there's any other last minute comments, throw it over, and otherwise I'll probably end this soon. Excuse me. Oh wow, that's weird. A whole bunch of comments actually just showed up all at once. I think it was a lag thing or a glitch with YouTube. So I literally only saw the last 10-ish comments pop up all at once. So let me just quickly try and breeze through these. Yeah. It's still better than nothing, I reckon, having this price drop. How do you find interesting things? It's hard, man. Yeah, it's hard. I also struggle sometimes. And I think if you live somewhere really cool, like in a forest or, near something really scenic, it helps, but it can't be the only reason, because you can always find something interesting about wherever you live, even if it's urban or seemingly boring, because a lot of it is because you're used to living there. But yeah, I don't really have a strategy for that. I think you have to kind of just create that inspiration, and often you have to just get out of where you live and try a different side of town or travel or something. But yeah, maybe picking a topic or something to focus on helps as well. It's just color paper for slide film as they make Fuji. Yeah, but that wouldn't be that exciting and worth that much hype. It could be that, but I hope it's not, because that's it's very niche. Have I looked at the Reflex Lab Auto Film Loader? I've seen something about it. I think I saw Nico talk about it. It's not something I would use, but it's a cool idea. Yeah, to help people with like bulk loading big rolls and stuff. Any video on the CineStill thing? I haven't planned to do one. I'm not really big on controversy. I have a point of view on it, and let me know if you guys want to hear it. But I don't know if it's worth me doing a whole video, because there's so many other great videos actually on this topic, and they all hit the nail on the head in my opinion. If you look at them broadly, on average, the average opinion of all the videos you've seen on the Cine Still thing is pretty much, you know, sums up my opinion as well. Definitely do TTL reviews. I love my Rolleiflex. Yep. I was thinking TLR reviews. Yep. Recently watched Asteroid City by Wes Anderson. Cinematography blew my mind. I totally watched a video on taking inspiration from cinema. I haven't seen that yet. I've watched the shorts that he put out on Netflix, but not that one. Yeah, I don't know why all these comments just showed up at once. Sorry, guys. I was straight away from watching photography videos on YouTube, but really enjoy your videos, and they inspire me not only to shoot, but to look into books you've mentioned. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that, like, you know, there's some people who like my point of view, even though others may not. I know that that's the case even with myself. I resonate with certain people's videos more than others. There's nothing wrong with that, and I appreciate it. Lucian, favorite films shot on film? Yeah. I just saw Killers of the Flower Moon. Dude, that was good. I liked it. It was long, but yeah, it was really good. We watched it in IMAX. Maybe your favorite still frames from movies. Yeah, see, I don't remember particular still frames, because really good movies, almost every frame is great, you know? Like, especially things like No Country for Old Men, or some of the old Akira Kurosawa movies, and Japanese stuff, you know, like anything shot by what's his name? Crap, I've forgotten his name. Roger Deakins. Make a video on cinematic lens. Yeah. I actually want to get into anamorphic lenses. That's something I've been wanting to try for a while, and they're becoming more affordable and accessible. So I actually would like to do that if I have a particular one. Yeah. Cool. All right. I think I've caught up. All right, guys, I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate anyone who's watched this later on as well. Drop a comment. Let me know your suggestions about anything you'd like to see. Am I enjoying the ZF? I was only borrowing it, so that wasn't mine. I only had it for like 9 days. But yeah, I'll catch up on the comments on this video later after it's been left on the channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys either on the next stream or on the next video that I post. Thanks again. See you, man. Thanks for joining. Have a good one.